Welcome to the Reality After Show, covering the Challenge World Championship exclusively on Paramount Plus. This is episode 4, World on Fire. I am your host, Alex Trias, always joined by my ride or die, Dan Montchal. But Matt couldn't be here because he doesn't watch the challenge. But maybe he was over watching TJ Lavin getting his BMX Hall of Fame induction. So we got the Brawny Dawson of Reality After Show, Wayne Memmott.
I love it. Oh my
God,
God!
Crashing in.
What's up?
This is your first time doing the challenge coverage.
Yeah.
What are you thinking of the season so far?
I am a big fan of this season because it's bringing new people to the challenge, but I actually know who these new people are. You know, like I've watched the UK and the Australia. I didn't watch Argentina, obviously, but yeah, like I know who these folks are coming into it. So I've really enjoyed it. I hope we get to see more Brony Johnson. I love them. They are the best. They're such a great host. And yeah, so I'm a fan. I can't wait to see what happens. I like the cast of legends that they brought in. I agree with the people that they asked to come in so far. Yeah.
Cool.
My pick is Troy. Is that the guy?
Troy.
Yeah. Australia, Troy.
Your pick is Troy to win.
Yeah, Troy and Amber. That's my team pick to win.
I mean, that would be a solid
they've had no airtime, and Troy is just like a magic out there, and Amber has won before. So
yeah, we didn't, Alex. You and I didn't throw out winner picks. Are we doing that, or are we just?
You can.
Oh, I mean, I talked about it in the beginning. Like, I think when we covered episodes 1 and 2, I was like, you gave Jordan a strong partner. Like, you put him into elimination every other time, or Jordan wins the final. Especially coming off of just being, anchored down by Anissa.
Oh God, that was first of all, I will say, no, Anissa is not getting another ally by me joining this today. So I listened to the first 5 minutes of their podcast. And I was like, oh, I'm not even for research and making fun of it. Am I going to listen to this garbage? It was, yeah.
It's okay. We are actually the official challenge podcast. To those who have been loyal followers of us, my stance on this.
Yes.
Well, I hate to, bring up the official challenge podcast, but apparently they had some turmoil because Kellyanne went after Devon last week, apparently.
You know what? Good job, Kellyanne.
They didn't
go at him.
Appreciate how the question was being asked. And I never listened to it. Just if someone types up like a little recap on a Reddit, I'll read the synopsis of it, but that's about it.
Wow. So if I have to make a winner pick, like I don't believe these pairs are like the pairs that you're running with at the end.
No.
So
Agreed.
I don't know. If let's say it's like a legend wins and a newbie wins, I feel like they're giving Zara like a constant like edit. I'm feeling they're really hyping her up at this early going. And maybe I'm going to fall trap to this and she's going to be like Angela on Challenge USA. But I think Zara's going to be my pick for the MVPs. For the legends, I feel like a lot of these legends are going to end up shooting themselves in the foot somehow. So I really don't know. I feel like it's probably going to be like someone who's quieter right now. Like, I'm not saying a Casey because Casey's just always quiet.
Yeah.
But,
No, I think
I'm going to hold on it for now.
I think Zara is a good pick because, we've seen it in the past. And, we're never supposed to talk about D anymore. But look what a little bit of, that study and tutelage from Wes, and that did her.
I mean, true. But just to be clear to the viewers, we do constantly talk about D because we do run Manscaped ads. So, but anyway, we're getting to episode 4, and I'm gonna say I love that we got back to a normal episode of a tight story. We're getting crumbs of what the full like season-long story is going to be. We get a daily, we get an elimination. Boom, we're good. So I'm enjoying the season so far. It just feels like a breath of fresh air.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to.
It feels like I think if it keeps sticking to this format, it feels like an early 20s season. a little bit.
Absolutely.
Like when some of the early rivals and exes, like that same type of feel to it.
Yep. So the first plot point is John A. She's talking with Ben, who, you know, while he's not, it's one of the few moments where he's not hiding his dishware in the cabinet right above the sink.
That's so wild. I do. And it's like, you mean to tell me nobody just opens a cabinet to see if someone's hiding a set of dishes? That's so wild.
No one will expect it.
I am so curious. I wish that there was like a Paramount Plus exclusive or like an extra thing as far as like seeing like like just snippets of just how they're living. I am so curious about like how it all functions while they're living there.
Oh, absolutely.
I think because I don't think we're going to get a lot of Ben. And this is the second episode in a row, because last week he had a similar conversation when it was Kellyanne on the other side. I think just because Ben's background military, he wakes up early. I think that's what we're going to see all season is whoever's up is just, well, I guess I'll go talk to Ben because he's the only one that's actually awake.
Do you think he's pulling a Mark Wales here? Is he hiding his silverware with military precision?
I don't think he can act. No one's a Mark. No one's a Mark.
No one's a Mark. Okay. Well, the main plot point here is not so much John A. talking about Kellyanne, but it's is Kellyanne a liability? Because Tristan is more so venting to his UK girls, Zara and Kaz, about, like, I was really hoping that I wasn't the one who would have to be calming down the legend. I was hoping the legend would be the one that would be guiding me. So we know that this is going to be their story for as long as they're in this game, is Kellyanne's going to be a handful because she's not going to be someone who can be under the radar. She's going to be someone who's always going to speak her mind because she's an emotionally charged person. So I don't expect their time in this game to be long, but that's their storyline.
I'm well okay with that. With her not being around for a long time. I think I used to like Kellyanne, but the last couple of seasons I'm just like, I don't really like the way she's playing because it doesn't seem calculated. It seems like just unfiltered emotion all the time. I'm okay if it's calculated, if you're like causing chaos and doing all this stuff or whatever. Yeah.
If she's around 2 to 3 more episodes just to cause some drama and chaos and then goes, like, I'm completely fine with that just being her role for this season.
Right. And like if that's the reason why she's cast over Jenny West, who's not going to bring drama but brings good competition prowess, then I can understand it and be like, okay, I may not like that because I want to see Jenny back on the show, but at least this is driving, like, we have a structured rivalry now. Like, she's always going to be targeting John A. and Grant. She's always going to say their name in Deliberation. Cool. We got a plot point.
Great.
We get very briefly Zara talking with Wes in confessional about how Wes is going to help her win that 500K. Another part of my reason for picking her as my person. But this is where we get to the Wes storyline. And Wes is, you know, like talking about his successes outside of the game and like how he's very good at what he does. But everyone, the MVPs and the veterans, are all talking about how Wes is just doing too much. Like he's constantly pulling people over, constantly like hyping himself up to them. And just like, and in one sense, it makes sense. This is his social game. He wants to drive these one-on-one connections, but we're only seeing in the edit of him hyping himself up and gassing himself up.
Right.
So you have all these people, even Grant, who actually, I'm going to be not down on Grant this episode. He makes some good decisions for once in his life in the challenge, where he's just like being quiet. He has the right susses on people. It's very interesting here. So we see Wes being sort of like a driving force for this episode. So you're like, okay, he's either going in or he's winning the daily.
Mm-hmm. And this has kind of just been Wes's almost challenge career, is that you see now he was just back for All-Stars, 3, obviously won that. But it's anytime that Wes wants to come, like you have to always give him the call to see, hey, do you have any interest in it? But you always see him that when he does his best is after a break, because people kind of aren't tired of his shit. And some of these new people, I'm sure they haven't watched the challenge for years, so it would be what's happened recently. So he does the best with people that he can come in that either are like, oh, we haven't seen Wes in a while, or I have no idea who he is, and you're more likely to fall for what he's feeding you.
Well, he's doing that, but we hear it from Bananas when Bananas is talking with Casey while they're stretching outside. It's just like, the dude's a magician. Like he keeps doing the same trick, thinking it's gonna keep working. How many times can you pull the rabbit out of the fucking hat before people get tired of it? Do something new. Cut a woman in half. Let's see something here. But, you know, like you said, Wes is a proven commodity. People know to be, like, hesitant of him, but you also know he's smart enough to not do big moves early. So you're just like, okay, I won't do anything now with him.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Q, salsa dancing with Tori and Rodrigo, because I thought this was a cute scene because, like, obviously for Rodrigo or Rodri, I think they were calling him during this episode, he definitely has more of a broken English than of like all the Argentinians. Like, because Benha, we see him fluent English confessionals all the time. All of Rodri's are in Spanish. And he's like, it's very hard for me to connect with people using my words. So I have to use more of the vibe, more of like physical connection, more emotional connection. And that's how you're driving here. I love
what
this
a
scene.
silver fox.
I mean, goddamn, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks great. Even with the leg injury.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Rodri.
But this cues us then over to their partner, or not their partner. So Tori's ex and Rodri's partner and Naya and Jordan. And this is like Naya's motivation scene, emotional scene, where this is more so what drove her from not being on Ride or Dies was her health issues regarding her addiction with vaping. And now we see more so what the ramifications of that was, where she was like, I could have lost everything, because of this addiction.
Yeah.
But now she's recovered from it. She's been more focused, more motivated. She's really trying to drive all of her weaknesses that she had throughout her 20s out and driving forward. And like, this is, you can tell that she really appreciates this second chance at life in the challenge that after she was banned all those years ago. And it's so nice to see this side of Naya, because this vulnerable Naya isn't someone that we saw in her initial challenge journey.
No, big fan of Naya. I really like. I just want to, I like Naya. I liked her a lot. I was really bummed she wasn't on Ride or Dies. So yeah.
And I think this is something that, the challenge has done well over time. And I know, the culture is that today they do one thing that's out of line and it's like they're canceled, they can never come back. But I think it's important, as long as it's something that doesn't cross, a line that you can never come back from, to have these people come back, because we all remember Naya from her real world season and her first few in the challenge. And seeing that growth, like, that's what people love. I mean, think about it. Like, you can't go on Twitter, Reddit, anywhere without people just gushing over CT, but it's because of his arc that happened over the course of his career on the challenge. So it's nice to see this growth and how people change as time moves on.
And I think that's sort of like the big thing here, because like the Nayas, the CTs, what drove them off of the show for a bit was due to things that were physical. Like, you were physically threatening someone, you were touching someone when you shouldn't be touching them. With Jordan said words that he probably shouldn't be saying. But like, you gave them some time away, and now like, this is their rehab of like, I'm rehabbing my image. But like, we want to believe as viewers that this is them actually showing legitimate change. Because the best story you can tell on reality television is seeing growth in people, not growth to the point that they're boring like Darrell. Sorry, Darrell. I love you, but you are boring as shit. It's like, but these people are just so interesting though, because now like Naya's like tugging at my heartstrings in these confessionals, talking about how much this means to her, and how much she wants to fight, how much a victory in this game would mean. It's sort of like Nelson, and like how Nelson talks about like how much not even the money, but winning a challenge and being able to declare yourself a challenge champion means to what he's been driving for in his life. But Naya's fresher and hasn't done like 9 seasons in a row losing and saying the same story. So I like it. As opposed to someone else who took a hiatus. We see Darrell and Jody talking, and I'm still going with what I know they win the elimination tonight, Dan and Wayne, but I'm still driving home. I don't see longevity for this team, and it's not because of Benha. It's because of Jody. I feel like Jody just seems so disinterested in getting to know her partner at all. Yeah. To the point where like Darrell's like, well, what's your like? Have you talked to your partner? And she's like, I don't even know where he is. Where he's literally just meditating outside. I'm like, right. Ben Hodges seems like such a cool dude, like low, like very chill. Like I could see him at like one of Fairplay's events, like just like vibing with fans about like whatever, not even caring about what's on the show, but like just talking, getting a drink, and like really getting to know someone. And I'm like, how do you not like? How can you be someone and not connect with this man?
Exactly. I'd sign up right now to get a split a timeshare with him, just to chill with him for a week, once a year. Because he seems like such a great dude.
Wayne, Dan might have a new side piece.
That's fine. I don't have timeshare money. Unless it's like an hour. You get to use this house for like an hour on a Friday.
No, it's all part of the pyramid scheme. You get it for free if you just attend these 7 other meetings throughout the day.
Because like, and it's just like they both have just like different mindset for the game. Benha has that fresh like newbie vibe of I have these people that I like. I have these people that I'm bonded very closely with. I need to be like I want to protect. Where Jody's like, I'm coming back from 12 years off. I'm glad that I'm able to prove that being 12 years away and just being like a stay-at-home mom, I can come back and still do my thing. But it doesn't matter who you like or don't like. You have to do moves at the end.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think they're 2 wires that aren't crossing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I like Benha.
I want to see him make the jump to the main show.
Well, because now, I mean, they're going to be put up every time now because it makes the most sense. You just like keep saying the same name. And if they keep taking everybody out, now you're like, okay, who do we target then? Like.
It's interesting you bring that up because this is where we start introducing the friction.
Yep.
So we have Danny and Grant, and they're talking about how like the Australian and US MVPs have gotten very close with each other. They essentially have an alliance of each other to protect both of their sides, attack the weakened countries, quote unquote, in Argentina and the UK. But more importantly, Danny and Grant are like, Jordan and West have proven if they can get to a final, they can win. So our objective is one of our group wins, and we need to attack them. But their main problem is the people that they are attached to in Legends. They're like, Danny knows, like, if I win, Tori isn't going to agree with me to take out Jordan. I need Grant to win because maybe Grant and John A can take that move and do it. But, like, overall, I want to have safety for my crew, and hopefully we can take a shot at one of those people because if they're not attached to me, I can't win if they're there. So they need to go. And I love that Danny's now getting more shine in this season. We didn't really get him in USA. It was only about his wife, Kiki. Allowing him to be on the show and all the things that she told him to do. We're now seeing he's going to be a more vocal character, at least in terms of narrating the season, which I'm very happy about because I think Danny is someone who easily makes that transition from the Survivor to the challenge. I don't see him doing Survivor ever again. I could see him, like, as long as Kiki wants him to do it, every single time they give him a call, Danny will be like, yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Danny's great, and I think he's someone that would be interesting to the dynamic of someone new. And it's just Danny isn't going to be there every season, but to throw him in every 2 or 3 just to shake things up, like I think he's proving why he would be great as a mainstay moving forward.
Right.
And like I know people have their thoughts about Sarah, but like I think this combination of Sarah and Danny is like very healthy. I'm like, they're 2 people who come in, they won their season. of the challenge. They're coming in here. They see what the legends are doing. They're smart enough to realize what they're doing. And they're like, we don't want to do that. We'll back off as we see later in the episode. It's like, we're not going to keep letting you get your way. I know we're attached to you. I know we're working with you. But we're here to win.
Right.
I'm sorry that you have friends and you guys are going to be on the next 13 seasons together, but help us and we can help you.
Right.
So, like,
and
let these
Danny
attachments go.
I would say, and Danny has clarified that the only reason that Bananas wasn't part of the group he was targeting with Wes and Jordan is because he said Justine's his girl.
And that makes sense.
Yeah.
And like, that's a good job of Justine picking Bananas and Bananas being like, cool, I'm all in on the US side because both sides are playing the different games. Like MVPs are coming in, they only have that one season under their belt. They're coming in and this is a new format. This is them mixed with people who this is their career essentially.
Yeah. And you just look at it from like just the USA side of it is it's all interconnected pretty well because obviously everyone that came from the Challenge USA is pretty close. Like all of them got along well. And then the vets that they're paired with are Bananas, Theo, Tori, and who's the last one?
And Casey, who all are good with each other.
Yeah.
Dang, I forgot Theo and Casey were on this show. I haven't seen them since the first episode.
Hey, Theo's one of the quiet ones. I told you guys, I'm like,
I know.
one of the quiet ones are going to go far here.
Oh, yeah, Theo. I love Theo.
And that's the thing. I love Theo, and I'm like, they keep peppering us in those beginning episodes about him and Kaz's relationship. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm waiting for that plot point to happen. And then whatever happens from that plot point, if he survives it, I'm like, okay, maybe Theo gets to a final. Let's see Theo run a final again. I would love
redemption.
It. Yeah. Like let's get Theo and Zara. There we go.
I forgot about Theo.
Yeah. But this gets us to the daily.
Yep.
And TJ has a special guest, and it looks like Wayne. Why are you there? It's Bronny Dodson.
Bronny's hair is much, much better than mine. This
you're right.
That's going on now.
You are right.
Her hair is much better than everyone's. So.
Their
hair, Dan.
Yeah, sorry.
Come on now.
I apologize.
This isn't behind the paywall.
Okay.
You can't make these mistakes.
It's
But if you want to see our stuff behind the paywall when we covered Challenge Australia, become a patron at realitypatron.com.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're giving us this we're in a warehouse, and they're like, we're going to bring you to hell because this competition is called The Gates of Hell. And guess what those percentages are, Dan?
I looked at them. Did you write them down?
I did write them down.
Was it 50%? Was it 50% speed?
Nope. 75% speed, 15% brute force, and 10% tenacity.
I mean,
well, I think Zara brought that tenacity. I saw her fighting with Tori in one of those second to last rounds. I was like, damn, girl. But yes, so the challenge.
Wait. I just have to say, because I haven't been on to talk about it, but every time those things come up, the only thing that goes through my head is 10% luck, 20% skill. That Fort Minor
I keep
song.
thinking of Fort Minor.
Every time, that's
100% reason just to remember the name.
Yeah. I just hope they bring back Nelson's original callback. His strength was heart, so I hope one of these has 20% heart.
Well, he's out. He's out. They can't pull that anymore. Heart didn't win.
About this challenge, I feel like we didn't get a great view of the whole setup. I was a little confused about how the timing things worked. It seemed really easy to get to one gate, but then it was way harder to get to the other one. And I liked this challenge in theory, but it was a little confusing, and I don't think it was executed the way it was designed. Meaning, I think they imagined a different outcome when they were designing this challenge than what actually.
I'll be honest, I'm more happy with this outcome because the last thing I needed to do was record 11 plus rounds of this.
Well,
it was just weird because the first round it looked like everyone made it with.
Well, I think that was
that was
the premise of it was I think they change up the speeds
Okay.
And then as it was going on, like your starting point was getting like you saw like the walls were closing in where it was when it was just the final two teams. It was literally just this tiny corridor. So to explain the challenge to the viewers, you are running around a 50-yard corridor separated by 2 gates. The goal is to race to the first gate as fast as possible. And you have 30 seconds at the initial gate to jockey for position before a green light comes on. Once that green light comes on, that gate will open up, and you only have the time that the other gate closes to get underneath that gate to secure your team. Both players must get underneath that gate and into the safe zone in order to move on to the next round. And you're going to keep going until only one team remains. And if it's needed, the tiebreaker is going to be whoever is the first person to get underneath the gate completely wins.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah. Yeah, I had 2 problems with the outcomes of this challenge. I'll let you guys cover the one that I know everyone's talking about. My problem with it was that the way that they decided that Naya lost, because Naya, like, if I can't imagine that they thought that that it was explained to them that whoever's like in the back of the pile just becomes last, So like, she's like, why am I going to throw I didn't make it. I'm not going to but she could have jumped on top of everybody. But you know what I'm saying? It's just kind of arbitrary. Yeah.
There should have been a loser's heat. There should have been something like that.
I think they were thinking that's too much work. Because in my mind, my thought was always going to be whoever was the furthest back in the pile, if multiple teams didn't make the cut the first go around, would be the losing team.
Yeah. Other thing there is you can tell when it gets to, you hear TJ's voice. He's talking about the tiebreaker. You can tell that was totally cut in after this was all done. Like that wasn't him saying
Danny
it there
said on Twitter that the instructions for what the tiebreaker was didn't match up with how Wes won. Because he wasn't arguing that him and Tori should have won. He's arguing that Wes didn't complete the objective because his full body wasn't underneath the gate by the time the gate was done closing.
Exactly.
But the goal, as Roger would tell you about this competition, is corriamos rápido. Run fast. See, I can do Spanish, people. I wrote it down even. Correctly.
Also, there wasn't as much real battling in there.
Not until the end. Not until the end. Right. Because they all get in the first round, they all get to the initial game. They're all standing up straight. They don't know how this is really going to go. And it's not until that gate starts lifting that you suddenly see people duck and go under to then start sprinting. And I think that's where jockeying starts. Because your whole objective is you're trying to get underneath, and you see all these people just sprinting underneath, diving underneath the gate to finish. But then you have to, at the same exact time, immediately go from sprinting one direction, stop, and get straight back to the front so that you and your partner have a good opening slot to duck under and start sprinting. So this was a competition where I was I know Danny and Tori are going to do well. Tori's all about the physical side of the game. She practices her sprinting. She's going to be good. And Danny is an ex-NFL player. We hear it from Amber. We hear it from Amber, who's just I literally have a former football player trying to tackle my little ass. And all I can think about, guys, because once again, this isn't a spoiler. It's been out there for a while. Amber is pregnant currently on that show.
Oh.
So I'm just every single time they talk about something physical and all this, I'm just cringing whenever I see her on the screen. So I'm oh my God, don't do anything. Don't do anything. Don't get hurt. Don't get hurt. Luckily, it doesn't look like she gets pushed around that much because she gets out pretty early because everyone survives round 1. Everyone gets under.
So here's the deal. There's smart people on there. Here's the strategy. You take your group, your group. So USA and Australia, you take your group and you say, okay, who's the worst 2 teams or whatever? One of you go and hold Wes down. The other one, you hold Jordan down, and then leave Grant and Danny and their team still in there to dominate the rest of everybody else. I don't know why that wasn't at the. I think the risk. Anybody.
I think the risk that you have is because of how how the format is for whoever last place would be.
Yeah, that's true.
If you are deciding that, like, say you're Danny, because if you're gonna have someone try to hold off Jordan and Wes, you need one of the better people that would be good at this challenge going after it. So like most likely that defaults to Danny and Tori having to do it. Tori's not going to do it, so it'd be up to Danny. Danny would then not only have to pin both of them, but also make sure he's not last in terms of furthest from the fence, because one little mistake, you're the one going into the arena instead of them.
I think it's risky to do that on the first go ahead, but it would have been interesting to see had Grant and John A made it and there would have been 4 teams there rather than just the 3. Then I think you could have implemented that strategy, and it's where Danny says, hey, Jordan and Kaz are already out. I'm going to pin Wes. We're going to bow out, but you and John A have to win this.
Right. No, that's and I think I just brought it up too early. I wouldn't have done it in the first round. I'm just surprised we didn't see it in like one of the next.
Well, we do see it at the end game. So let's go. We'll break it down here. So everyone makes it through round 1. As Theo says, this is gonna be all about endurance and speed and getting rustly and tussly. Those are words, right?
Don't threaten me with a good time.
I love that Sarah's like trying not to laugh during that confessional when he says that. It's just like, what are you talking about? Sure, those are words. Good. So everyone survives round 1. Round 2, though, of the 13 teams, 10 teams are eliminated.
Right.
And I think part of the issue there is like it's going down and like quicker on that side. We see the teams already diving at the beginning, and some of these people are so big body that like they get to the front and they know they can't crouch in time, so now they're just blocking people off. And we see Kiki just out of nowhere come flying in, get a foot onto the wall, and we just hear Kiki go, well, I hope me just like deciding to fly kick into the wall saves my team this week. Kiki, as long as you're in this game, Kiki, you give me so much entertainment.
I love Kiki so much as a player. She's super strong. Like we've seen it. She's good. So
I mean, I love her. She's still the second best Kiki of the challenge.
Oh yeah, no, Kiki number 2 for sure.
Yeah. She's not my wife Kiki. We haven't gotten that this season though. I'm sad. We only got the one in the beginning.
Yeah.
But so the final 3 teams are Wes and Zara, expected. Tori and Danny, expected. Jody and Benha. Yeah. And I wasn't expecting it because I know Jody back in the day was like a good distance runner. I wasn't expecting her to be like good at the sprinting part of it in the beginning. So we have that, and Wes and Zara but we got this because I'm gonna let Zara unleash her animal instincts. And okay, I am in. This is why I love the MVPs. They're just like, it really drives back to like the 20s of the challenge. Like these people that are just unfiltered here, having a great time, don't care what they're saying in confessional. They're just like, I'm here to have fun, and I'm here to fuck people up, as Zara says.
That's so funny.
And I really love that they're doing so many of these confessionals like as partners. Like, I mean, that's what we see probably half of them, if not more, which is just adding that entertainment value, because it's not only are you seeing them say, like Zara, but you also get to see the reaction, like you mentioned with Theo and Sarah, that it just adds more entertainment value seeing how they're going to react to what their partner says.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So everyone survives round 3, and then it was round 4 where Jody was last, didn't get underneath the fence. So Jody and Benha are eliminated. It's now Wes and Zara and Tori and Danny. And in the rounds that were shown, like they now get a little more physical. And like Wes is also trying to prove a point to people that it's like, everyone knows me now more so for my politics game, my strategic game. But remember, I am physical. Like I don't go down against people. I will go straight head first into anyone who tries to get in my way. And we see it where like Danny shoves him and he just completely flips and immediately just keeps running. Because people do forget, even after the steroid era of Wes, I still to this day believe that's the case for him. Just look at it and tell me that I'm wrong. he is always been a well-rounded player, and it wasn't just his social and strategic game. He is a physical player as well.
No, absolutely. I mean, you look at him and it's just, he doesn't have that like WTF loss really on his record in eliminations. Right. It's every time that he's lost, it's either been maybe a little bit fluky, or it's just like, I mean, he got murdered by Big Easy and Leroy in eliminations, but they were physical where clearly they had the advantage.
I mean, he lost to Devin in an endurance comp, even though he says he threw it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That one I put on it. No offense to Devin, current champion Devin. He'll let you know about it while he's throwing darts with a broken wet cigarette in his hand. But we get into these last couple of rounds, and now we can tell it's the whoever gets under first wins. And Wes is the only one to get quote unquote under. You can very clearly see in the rewinds that his shoulders up don't get underneath the fence when it closes, but like part of his body is. So did they change the rules to say as long as any part of your body gets under, then it's over? Because they may tell us that it was only 6 rounds, but maybe there was more rounds and they're like, okay, we just need someone to get a foot under. If someone gets a foot under, they win. Who knows? We won't.
TJ either way, fight to catch.
Yeah. I mean, like either way, Wes and Zara win. Last place team, because Kiki got her foot up and onto the fence, is Naya and Rodri. They're going to go straight into elimination, and we know that Rodri has a leg injury from this as well. But yeah, we see a lot of cuts and bruises, and we see Wes cutting it very close when he gets underneath that fence. But when you want to cut close without actually making the cuts, you want proper grooming tools, and we have Manscaped here for you. We'll be right back.
Support for Reality After Show is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. That's right, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code SURVIVOR at manscaped.com. If my math's correct, that's about 12 million balls.
The Performance Package 4.0 has arrived, and oh man, is it a game changer. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker, ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies.
First off, the Lawnmower 4.0, this trimmer is the future of grooming, and dare I say, the greatest ball trimmer ever.
Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to help reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and has a 4000K LED spotlight that you need for a more precise shave.
Now, I have a dark shower curtain in my bathroom, and I've been looking for the perfect way to shave in the dark, kinda. Guess what? I found it! 4000K LED! No longer a problem. I got perfectly smooth, clean balls thanks to the Lawnmower 4.0.
It's time to take care of yourself, so go to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping with the code SURVIVOR. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code SURVIVOR. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
Thanks for sticking with us through the ad break. And don't forget, for more exclusive Reality After Show coverage, visit realitypatron.com. That's reality, Patron.com.
We are back at Wayne trying to sneak a bite while we're coming back. Well,
there are these new puffs from veggie chips. It's veggie puffs.
Look at us being healthy here, folks. This is also now going to go to the food and health topics in your local podcast feed. Not only is it reality and entertainment, it's now health and food.
Yeah, like the $100 Jordan cake that we had on Wednesday night.
Yeah. So we're back at the house. Obviously, the plans to go after West can't really come to play because they're safe. They won. The U.S. veterans all bring like the U.S. team together and like, we're gonna keep it simple. Let's do the same thing while it's boring gameplay, it's also the correct gameplay of if two names have already been said and both those names are still here, the easiest thing to do early on is to still say those names, and then we can wait for a big move. A big move can happen, but maybe now's not the time. And the newbies aren't really keen on that at the moment. We see it from Australia. We see it from the U.S. Like a bunch of the newbies come do kangaroo court, or as Grant tells us, just a meeting.
Yeah, just a meeting.
I understand their frustration, and I know there's a lot of backlash from it, but this isn't anything new because you look at it, the rookies are always complaining that they're targeted first, but then what happens once they have a few seasons under their belt? They join that vet, majority, and are going to do the exact same thing. Well, so this isn't anything that hasn't been happening for years.
Well, but I don't think it's them really so much complaining about the vet status. I think they truly do not care about the vet status. They care about who has gone on and won multiple finals, and then who are they lined up with. And because U.S. and Australia are like, well, Jordan and West are on the UK also, so perfect excuse, we can go after them. And in theory, the play makes sense from them, where you throw Jordan and Kaz in, and you throw Tristan and Kellyanne in, it forces West to make a choice. Like, which relationship is he going to value more? Because we know offhand, like, West is good with all the bananas, the Jordans, like, they're all good with each other now. So it doesn't make sense for them to truly target each other in the early game. But then you have the emotional tie to Kellyanne because they have history. Even if it's over 15 years ago, it's still a part of your history forever. And we hear from Kellyanne, it's like, if West were to throw me down, like, that would hit even worse than when John A put me down.
Yep.
Because John A and I didn't fuck.
Right.
Like, we've done more than what others have done with each other, and this is an incestuous group to begin with. Right. But we see it from the veterans. Like, the veterans are just very straight up, especially Tori. Tori's like this very vocal, like, if you think you're gonna have me throw up my ex-fiance and like allow him to go in, you're crazy. I'm like, rethink those words you just said.
Right.
But I guess, like, in terms of sympathy, like, I have to give her some kudos there because, like, they've gotten past that. So it makes sense that their friendship is still valuable to her in this game because they both know, as long as we're both here, him and Kaz won't target Danny and Tori. In theory, Danny and Tori wouldn't target Jordan and Kaz. But the big plot point we're having now is Danny being like, I just want to be number one with my partner. And the fact that I know I'm not even number one, maybe I'm not even number two. Right. But I'm for sure not number one. And if I can get Jordan out of the picture, she can spend more time focusing about us winning, not about her friendship group making the final together. Because her friendship group makes it harder for me to get to the end and win money for my family.
For Kiki.
And I think that's what I find so interesting about this season format. Because,
sorry.
It's all good. Because we know going into this season, Dan and I and Johnny, we've been dogging on the World Championship concept. We're like, this is going to be a waste of time. This is going to be a train wreck. Like, what are we supposed to expect from this show? But I've been so captivated by what the storyline is. So that we're at the point where I'm like, I don't care who goes when, even if it's a fave. Like, if Bananas goes in 2 episodes or whatever, like, I'm like, cool. Like, this is an interesting plot point. Like, it's not like I won't see Bananas again soon, but I want to see this really cool story of inner team conflict because it's so much different than what we've been getting on the challenge recently, because on the challenge recently, it's been a lot of like, we have this big friendship vacation alliance, and we're just going to keep picking away at the rookies and the veterans that are not part of that alliance. And you will get ostracized, you'll get pushed away, and then a majority of that alliance makes it to the final. They get to the end and they split the money. And that's boring. Now we have these MVPs plugged into that dynamic that are like physically pushing against that wall of like, we don't give a fuck that you are doing this. We want to play our game. Like, you guys have made a name for yourselves. It's our turn to make a name for ourselves. But it's this interesting point of like, I want to make a name for myself, but I'm also partnered with the person that I have problems with now.
I almost wonder, well, not wonder, I think we would have known, but I like the Challenge USA and all these other ones, like if they had pulled people that weren't going to be the legends, right? I think they picked the legends, right? I think they pretty much did, but I think there's a lot of other challenge people, like, you know, throw Kyle in on and Gabby in on the Challenge UK qualifier, throw on the US side, like throw some of these like, you know, third and fourth tier challenge players. I don't want to name names because I don't want anyone to think we don't like them. But, you know, like some of these names that pop up once every 5 or 6 seasons, and put some of these like people that know the challenge on these shows. If they do this again, put people on the challenge. But I don't think they'll do it again.
We know for sure that there's a Challenge USA season 2 coming.
Right.
We know there won't be another Challenge Australia, or if it is, it won't be available in Australia.
Right. Yeah.
Which is a shame because I think like they have so many interesting like reality TV personalities from Australia that they could easily just throw it on Paramount Plus and let the US view it then. Like, let us view it immediately instead of airing it live there and then eventually throwing it here. Like, there's ways to make this concept work, but I want this concept to work in the sense of bring this all in, and whether it's the main show or if the CBS version of the challenge becomes the main challenge, who knows? I think eventually that will be the case. And that's why we're seeing like the rumors of the legends now starting, and the main show, people filtering in because they want to increase viewership on the CBS show. And if they're increasing viewership, I bring the people on the main show. Why don't you just bring it all over to CBS?
Right.
Which I'll hate for the fact that we won't get actual music anymore on the show, and we'll get generic whatever they had during Big Brother 14 music.
The Amazing Race.
Amazing Race.
That's one thing I don't.
Weird thing. Phil Kogan decided to follow me on TikTok, and I don't make TikToks. Just because you brought Amazing Race, I just saw that yesterday on my account. I'm like, why did you follow me?
So you guys are telling me that you don't have the Big Brother and Amazing Race soundtracks on your Spotify playlist?
Oh, that's all I run to when I'm on the treadmill.
Dun dun dun. Yeah, do I know the Amazing Race soundtrack? I do. I absolutely do. I watch that, but I don't brag about that one.
Yeah, don't brag about it in front of Johnny.
No, I know. And that one's the one where it's like the end of the night and I'm like mostly drunk and I'm just like messing around on my phone while that plays in the background. I'm like, oh, that's what Thailand looks like. All right. Like that's like I mean, there's a reason why nobody podcasts, or if they do, I don't know what about them, because like nothing there's no strategy, there's nothing to discuss, there's no cool characters,
no. But this gets us to Deliberation, and it's a very straightforward, like people are like, you know, the veterans are very much in front of like, there's 2 names out there. I'm not creating more blood this early in the game, so it's going to be, and it ultimately is Kellyanne and Tristan, Jody and Benha.
right.
We do get a couple shots taken by some of these other teams, and the names that are brought up are Sarah and Theo, Casey and Ben, and Jordan and Kaz are the other teams that are called out, which I find very interesting when they're like, we have these teams on the bottom that are like, we're going to call out all the big teams, Theo and Sarah. Like, and like, Theo is a strong competitor, but he was partially blind in one eye for 2 years. Like, you're not calling out Bananas. You're not like, you can't call out Wes here. So I guess like their biggest thing is like, oh, we're going to keep targeting Jordan because Jordan is the final threat if he's there.
Well, and I think Theo and Sarah being a threat is more on the combination of Sarah and Theo, because everyone knows Sarah's like an incredible competitor and Theo's an like they are a very strong team. Just don't give them a Sudoku puzzle.
I mean, give Sarah a Sudoku puzzle. Apparently,
Oh yeah, she's a master. That's right, she's a master. Yeah.
I will time out on these puzzles and win. God damn it!
Well, as we're going through deliberation, Wayne said he forgot that Theo was on the season. For me, it was just like, yeah, I forgot. Yes, was there. That was.
Oh yeah.
Hey, he had a talking head during the rounds where he said, "I would just." Any random like hobo on the street over Wes any day of the week. I love that their little fun like rivalry is still like very much in the background. It is a Z plot point, but it's still very much there from All Stars.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the plot point where Wes then comes back to that of like, yes, it's the most fake person ever to be on the challenge. I'm waiting for it. But we get those two teams, and obviously Naya asks, like, it would be great to just go after Kellyanne and Tristan. I don't want Rodri to have to go against essentially his country blood in Ben-Ha. And Wes and Zara are like, okay, and they're in the confession like we're not going to factor her feelings into any of this, but like if we decide to do that, we can blame Naya. Perfect.
Yep.
We get some bar time. Where fake fun and fake friend time, as Kiki calls it. Hey, another positive for Grant, Dan. He was actually having a drink at a table with people.
I know.
Wasn't it like just one other? Wasn't it just a
there
conversation
was
with bananas?
No, that was Danny. Danny.
Oh, that was Danny.
No,
Bananas.
Grant was like at a table with like 5 different people.
I can only imagine that was the table off in the corner, and that's where Grant took his drink to be like, I'm gonna stay here alone. And there's like 4 people that followed him, and he's just like, what the fuck?
And like
yes.
I know I'm not gonna be giving him kudos for much longer, but I'm giving him his kudos for this episode because he was unproblematic with his gameplay this week. Because he was like, normally, if this was like Australia, I wouldn't have cared what my partner said. I would have been said the names of the people I want to target. But I know it's a number, and like him and John, he's like, I talked to John A. I know it's a numbers game. I have to bide my time, and we hear that with Danny too. And like Danny and Sarah's whole point is now they're like, well, we let them have what they wanted. We want to get what we want next round. Like this needs to be a compromise, not a we're being led by the legends because we're strong-minded people. We don't want to be led and told what to do, which very fair. Like this isn't some just like young 20s person coming in for their first show. Like Sarah's won 2 different types of shows now. Danny did well in Survivor and actually won the Challenge USA. So no air quotes there, Dan. I'm watching you.
I didn't put air quotes around Danny. It was just
I'll
on
have
Sarah.
to put on my Team Danny shirt for next week.
Hey, I'm all for Dan. I love Danny. If he wants to make it to the end, I would be perfectly happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
I still want him to get to the end of the mountaintop and yell and do like the LeBron James. Was like Kiki? This one's for you.
No. I want Kiki to be there at the top of the mountain with TJ.
And TJ just gives the check to her.
Yep.
Like Danny just did all this work. He gets up the mountain. Finally, he's like, "Congratulations, Kiki! You're a challenge champion."
Yeah, and just speaking of Kiki, if you're interested in some of her hot takes, she does not hold back on Twitter and is perfectly fine taking shots at everyone on this cast, including Danny's own partner.
Still.
Well, so she went on this Twitter rant and she even put on there, be like, y'all better take screenshots of this because Danny's probably going to make me delete it in about 6 hours. So you have time. And she called out Tori saying that Danny's there because he actually wants to win, not just to grow his OnlyFans account, which direct shot at Tori.
Did not know Tori had an OnlyFans.
She does.
I'll bet it's not good.
I'm sure it's like a lot of like the wrestling ones where it's like like lingerie pics.
Yes.
I Well, I mean,
Tasteful.
I wouldn't know. I have never paid for an OnlyFans. I'm never
Neither have
going
I.
to
You know,
because
we
I
can
don't
ask
understand.
Johnny.
Like, Google's a thing, right? Like, you can find someone that looks close enough.
I mean,
That's
like
the creepiest thing you've ever said.
I'm just saying.
hey, I will never ridicule someone for how they want to make their money.
No.
If
Do your
it
thing. Like
works
you're
for
a very
them,
you're attractive people. Make your money using your body. No issues there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, love seeing people throw shade about it. Like
No,
Wayne's dog
absolutely.
agrees with us.
What
That's
do you
why
think,
he came on
Ford?
camera.
This is my OnlyFans. It's my dog.
Aw.
no, I mean, you look at it. I think Devin's obviously not on the season, but he's talked about before how much money he's made off of it. Like, if it provides you a comfortable living and you make a lot of money going for it, like, all the more power to you.
Like, I would have taken the bigger hit of, like, Danny's here not worrying about the next season.
Right.
Because, like, to him, he's like, if they call me, they call me. Like, that's his mindset about it. Like, he's living perfectly fine, very comfortable in Texas with his wife and his family. Like, he's doing this more so for Kiki and, like, his adrenaline rush of, like, I'm a competitor. Like, if you're giving me a show where I can compete, like, I think in his mind, like, yeah, I'll do it. And, you know, I'll get there and I'll see what happens. And so you have him competing to win in the moment. And you have Tori who's like, I want to win for longevity. Or, like, I want, even if I don't win, I want to have good connections moving forward. So I have multiple chances to win. If not this season, seasons down the line.
Right.
And it's just two different philosophies. And you can just very much tell who is a lifelong challenger and who is a new challenger.
And I think it's... Oh, God.
I was going to say, it makes sense for Tori because I think everything that she went through on War of the Worlds 2 of being on the bottom, I think it really grated on her and she didn't like it. And we've seen her kind of make some changes after that. As much as I've said I love Jordan, I was kind of hoping they'd flip the numbers and he went in because Jordan is someone that doesn't play that game. And my favorite version of Jordan is Jordan on, like, the attack when he gets put on the bottom. I think that's where he makes the best TV.
Best TV and the worst gameplay. And I love both of that.
It's yes.
Well, and then I think it's more speaks to, like, the Survivor. Like, when you play Survivor, it's like you're not playing Survivor thinking, oh, I might play with these people again. So it doesn't matter if you have to lie, cheat, and steal to win Survivor. You lie, cheat, steal to win Survivor. Whereas, like, the challenge, it very much is like you have to consider the long game. Like, you can win one season, and if you piss every single person off, you're never winning another thing on this show again.
Well, unless you just beat everyone.
unless you just beat everybody.
Right. And I agree with you. And, like, we have this conversation with Bananas and Danny, and you can tell it's sort of like it's the Cold War. It's like Bananas is like, I'm someone now that would rather stab in the chest than stab in the back, which I would say based off his gameplay of recent years is true. It's like he's like, I will stab you in the front. You will know when I stab you. And I feel like this is also still a dig without saying it about their conception of what a Survivor player is.
100%.
Like, oh, you just constantly stab people in the back, heartless bastards, all that. But it's like, we don't see it as like us having this master plan. We just were like, we want to take things slow right now. And Danny's just like, I get that. Us on the MVP side, we want to make a move. We want to shake things up. We want to give our teams the best chance to win. So it's essentially, we leave this episode with them in a stalemate. It's just like, I'm frustrated that we couldn't get what we wanted. I'm not going to act out on it, but I'm frustrated, which is fair.
I was going to say, of course, Bananas doesn't want it because if they start taking shots at Jordan, he knows he's obviously next. And I would also be willing, he doesn't want to see it because, they obviously had their rival a decade ago and it's been more of a fun banter going back and forth. My guess is that Bananas is closest with Jordan in that house.
Yep.
I would say Jordan and Wes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, he's very close to them. And because he's been on these newer seasons, like, he knows how to work Tori. So, like, Tori and him are both, like, on the same page of, like, how the challenge should work for the veterans. It's like, He has a good relationship with the Big Brother side of things with Casey. because of Nani of it all. Like, there's a lot of things where he's like, I understand the shifting part. So for my game, I have to play this slow roll approach, because if I take a big shot too early, everyone's staring at me. There's nothing that will protect me, and I could get screwed, which is why I'm scared for next week, where he's like, now's the time for a big move. So I think it's something that's going to blow up in his face, similar to what happened in the War of the Worlds.
I was just excited because we see a little bit of clip of Ben screwing up. I was like, yep, that sounds exactly on brand.
We have Danny going like, I think Ben flipped on us. But this gets us to the arena. And TJ is not there.
Nope.
It's being led by Bronny. Yeah, Wayne's there with new hair. What happened, man? What happened? It looks worse now.
Oh no, this is unkept and unmaintained.
No, but we have Bronny there because TJ had to fly back to the States to be inducted into the BMX Hall of Fame, and I love seeing him like actually giving a real speech. Like, he's stumbling over his words. Like, they didn't edit that part out. Like, they showed it because it was just like giving the challenge so much love for where he was at. It was really cool. But now into the arena. This will be very quick because we're an hour in. Naya and Rodrigo are in. Very straightforward vote. Wes and Zara pick Benha and Jody. So another Argentinian team will go home. And I am sad because these Argentinians, while they are short-lived in this game, I felt brought so much joy into the game.
Yep.
I love their energy.
Alex, I don't know if you can confirm it, but I thought I read somewhere, did the Challenge Argentina film like literally finish filming days before they started the World Championships?
I think I read something about that because they used this same arena.
Okay.
Because someone took a screenshot when it first got into Paramount Plus, like, wow, they really just had them use the same location for the Argentina show. And very interesting there, and like, you know, but they have to fight, and this one is called Oiled Up, but not in the way that Johnny would want to talk about.
Boy, howdy, this challenge is insane.
Well, let's talk about the percentages. Let's break down the numbers. So, Dan, what do you think they were?
I got to start paying more attention to these.
I'm going to quiz you every time.
Yeah, I didn't realize this was going to be a pop quiz every week. So I'd imagine.
You know about it.
Yeah, that's fair. 50% strength, 25% endurance, and 25%
heart.
You only got one of the terms right. You got none of the percentages right. You fail. You have to be better, man. You have to be better. Do your work, man. But this Oiled Up challenge.
I have 7 pages of Australian Survivor notes. All right.
Okay.
Forgive me.
Okay. How much of that did you even read last night? Anyway, Oiled Up is 40% endurance, 30% technique, and 30% speed.
What technique?
Bullshit.
Holding the bucket?
Oil.
What the fuck kind of technique do you need?
I mean, not the technique that Rodrigo was using.
Oh, dude.
So for this
and we
challenge,
do see that this goes like over 2 hours. So this is a long, brutal challenge.
I didn't even look at the time stamps when they were doing it. It makes sense. So on go, each team will get buckets and get oil from a well. They will then climb a 12-foot platform that is angled to fill a well on top of that platform. And as you fill it, it will allow a ball to rise in a tube. And as soon as it crosses the red line in that tube, the elimination is over. You will win and stay in the game. This is a hard challenge, and there's 2 approaches to this. And like we hear Darrell sort of like talking about, Darrell's approach is just fill the damn bucket up all the way and do less trips. But we see the issue of that in both teams, where if you do one little slip because it's a steep platform, you could spill a lot of that oil on the platform. Now your journey up that platform is so much more difficult.
We've also seen issues with Darrell's strategy over the past few seasons, so maybe let's not follow that.
I'm also scared
Work
that
harder,
he.
not smarter.
I mean, I'm just scared that he will have gotten 12 feet up in the air and be scared of heights.
Too high.
It's too high.
Too high.
It's too high,
TJ
Bronny. I can't
Yeah.
curse out TJ because he's not here. But F you. But we see ultimately, I think what wins the day for Jody and Benha is their approach, where you have more than 2 buckets. So Jody's just like constantly filling all of the buckets, and Benha is the more athletic of the two, so he's going to keep climbing up and down. While only one person's going up, you're doing the trips more often, and then Jody helps once all of them are made. Whereas like Naya and Rodri were working hand in hand with each other, and Rodri's leg issues, I think, also play a factor in them slowing down. But they show heart, and like one thing they may have gave Nelson strength as heart, but if you're Argentinian on this show, it's all heart. Very fun elimination, very straightforward, very easy to follow along. And Benha and Jody win.
Yeah, and this is Naya. Obviously, he's only done a handful of seasons and, has been spread out. But this is her first elimination loss since Free Agents.
Oh, God. Free Agents.
Well, at least her elimination loss here was more palatable for her probably than Nelson.
Yeah.
But that's like the end of this episode. Benha and Jody stay. Rodri and Naya go. I love the love that Rodri and Naya gave to each other on the way out. Naya appreciates Rodri really putting his body on the line because he was taking bumps across that, and already had the existing leg injury.
Yeah, because he just finished the other challenge 2 weeks ago. Apparently, Jesus.
And he's the oldest person there.
Yeah. Yeah, maintenance needs to sit in a hot tub for a while.
I want to look like Rodri when I grow up.
I want to look like Rodri at any point in my life ever.
I'm literally after this podcast ends, I'm going to the gym and now I'm even more motivated because I want to look just like these people. The Argentinians need to give us some secrets. Maybe it's just salsa dancing. You have to salsa dance an hour a day, and you'll look like them.
Yeah, Alex, a little less gym, a little more salsa, and
more salsa.
Maybe you'll be there.
Oh, I'm gonna have salsa tonight.
I was gonna say, I was just about to make a joke that Wayne's I'm about to open up some salsa. We know each other too well now.
Yeah, right.
So I think that means that it's time to end this podcast.
Yep.
Another good episode, a good start to a good season. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen moving forward now that it looks like not only is there going to be a legend versus MVP beef, but now MVP versus MVP beef because, God damn it, Ben, what did you do?
Damn it, Ben.
Damn it, Ben.
Treebergen. Ben.
Yeah, that's going to wrap it up for us. We will be back next week, probably on Friday again, for coverage of episode 5. I know at some point in the coming days, Wayne, you and Johnny will be doing Survivor 44 episode 4 recap.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I totally forgot. Yep, at some point in time we haven't talked, so probably Monday morning at 7:00 in the morning.
So if you want to hear Johnny's take on the new episode, as well as Wayne's, they will be back with that coverage.
Well, and we'll probably spend some time talking about our adventures on Wednesday because we had a wild time on Wednesday at his watch party.
And speaking about that, now's the best time to become a patron at realitypatron.com because while we will not be having a new Q&A made, we will be releasing 2 Q&As from the last 2 live show events, one with David Voce and one from the Cincinnati watch party with Wayne.
Yeah. I kept telling the kid to stop recording during the recording. He's like, no, they told me to do this. I just saw some kid video recording with his phone, the whole thing. And I was like, I don't know if we should record this because Matthew is here and I didn't want him to get in trouble or anything like that. So you'll probably see a video of me in the corner going like this, like that.
Yeah. So as always, the best way to support the podcast, become a patron, realitypatron.com. You will get access to those videos as well as links for the Australian Survivor season and access to the secret Facebook group. If you're watching Australian Survivor with us, myself, Alex, Wayne, and Chrissy will be back next week for the finale. Also, be sure to tune into what we just did last night, as it may have not been the best 2 episodes of the season, but we had a ton of fun and some special guests. And then, of course, some combination of Alex, myself, and Matt Bischoff will be back to cover on Wednesday night after episode 5 of Survivor 44. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to your podcast. Rate and review us 5 stars. That'll do it for us. We will see you again next week. Cheers, everyone.
And for more bonus content, go to realitypatron.com. That's right, become a patron now. Get additional coverage of all your favorite shows, the weekly Q&A, and you become a member of the secret, exclusive Facebook group. That's realitypatron.com.